I'm Sarah Barker. If you guys have not checked out the YouTube channel, all of these workouts that we've been doing for at least the last month or so have been uploaded to YouTube because as people are transitioning back into their work environments and normal lives, we know that not everybody can catch these wonky times that we're keeping these classes in. So especially if you're on a different time zone than us. But anyway, so we're going to go ahead and start with yoga. If you want to start out by standing, might have to get my fly swatter. There's a horse fly. Start out by standing today on your mat. Standing in mountain pose, which is just a basic standing pose. Feet are about hip-width apart. And your hands are down by your side. You guys can hear me with that fan? That fan going behind me? Well, then sit on the other chair. All right, so we're standing in mountain pose, Tadasana. We're just going to be comfortable here for a moment, and then we'll start really focusing on how our body is standing and how our body is feeling. So just start with a couple of really slow, deep breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. Checking into our body, noticing our hips, noticing that sometimes it's easy to just kind of roll the hips forward or to arch the lower back and stand with the chest lifted. We want to just be neutral here. This neutral spine, neutral pelvis, so that your hips are not tilted forward or back in any way. It's just level. Shoulders are relaxed. Spreading out those toes and really just feeling the way that your feet touch the mat. I apologize in advance. My ears are popping for some reason, so I sound like I'm in a tunnel. I feel like I sound like I'm in a tunnel. Don't sound horrible. Drive me insane. Inside, I can hear my voice inside my head. Checking in with our body, noticing any areas of your body today that might feel sore or tense or stressed. Sometimes those are physical things, like muscular tension in the shoulders or the back, the legs. Sometimes those are more emotional things, emotional tensions or stresses that you're holding that you can't really clear them out of your mind. I want to just invite you to leave those things outside of your mat for the day. They'll still be there in an hour, no big deal. But right now, let's just be present on the mat, concentrating only on the breath and on your body. Maybe just rocking forward and backwards on those toes and the balls of the feet. Just finding some balance in that standing position. Maybe it's a good roll, you're able to out a little bit. Tilting the hips, swaying the hips side to side, just kind of loosening those up. Roll the shoulders, roll your head around. All right, you guys, we're going to take one deep breath, bring both hands up all the way overhead, touching fingers briefly, and then exhale, bringing them all the way back down. This time only with the right hand, deep breath in. Keep down with that right foot, and exhale all the way up with the left arm, inhaling. Keep down with the left foot. And then both hands once again. Inhale. Little baby back hand at the top of that extended mountain, and then exhale back into standing pose. One more time, deep breath in. Grabbing your hands together, and then we just leaning over to the left side. And then maybe back to the other side. All right, taking one more deep breath in, you guys. And exhale. All right, before we get started, we're going to release a little of that tension by just kind of bouncing around a little bit on your mat. Just kind of get yourself a couple of hops. Make your body feel kind of heavy, like you don't really care about how you're jumping. Like let your arms kind of fall loose. And release some of that tension. It's okay to move and jump a little bit. The way I like to think about things is if you've ever seen an animal of prey running from another animal, from a predator, like a bunny, for example, running from a fox. When that bunny escapes, right? When that bunny escapes, it's shaking. It's in a little ball, and then you just kind of see it go like this. They just shake it out, and then they're fine. They move on. But when we hold tension in our bodies, we don't ever do the shaking thing. We don't ever release the tension. We just kind of move on, right? So it stays in us. And over time, the body keeps count, right? It keeps score of all that. So you want to make sure you release some of that. Just kind of let it go. All right, we're going to I'm going to fall on my face, but I'm literally like slipping on our mat. So we're going to take our step to the top of your mat. If your mat is towards the camera, or to the side, if it's over to the side, to the top of your mat with your feet. We're going to turn sideways. We're going to take a deep breath in. Exhale, swan dive to forward fold. And let that body hang. Once again, let that tension kind of drop towards the floor. Your chin towards your chest, locking in that throat, the Shuddha Bandha. So locking in that throat, the crown of your head is pointed straight to the floor. Knees are slightly bent. And we're just pressing our weight into the mat. Pushing the heels, the toes to the floor. Letting the head fall heavy. If your hands don't touch the floor, that's okay. You can either prop yourself up with your shin, or you can grab your elbows in your hands, let the weight carry down towards the floor. All right, take a deep breath in. We're going to come up to half lift. Fingers stay towards the floor, engaging the backs of the legs, the hamstrings. And then press your chest back down to the floor. You want a little bit more here. We're going to continue with the chin lock to the chest. Hands are going to come back behind us in our lower back. If you've got a band here, or a sock, or a t-shirt, you want to have your body, always hold those in your hands. And we're going to roll the shoulders back and bring the hands up. So binding our forward fold. If it makes you busy, unlock the hands and come back down around with the hands towards the front. Or come up into that monkey pose. Take a deep breath here, opening up that chest. And before you release your hands, bring your hands back down towards your tailbone, and then release from there. Hands come back towards the floor. Deep breath into half lift. We're going to bend the knees a lot, dropping the hips, bringing the hands to prayer pose or to extended chair pose. All right, deep breath in, reverse swan dive, coming all the way up. And back down to that forward fold. All right, y'all. Go ahead and take those hands to the top two corners of your mat. And step back long up back into where they were facing on. Lifting the hips towards the ceiling. Got a nice curve of the tailbone. The heels are ears towards your biceps and lifting with the tailbone but pressing with the heel. Some people might watch people, but they not probably think like they're not now. That's so pretty, so heavy. All right, guys, we're going to take those knees down towards the floor, and then we're going to push back into child pose. And briefly, visiting the pose for a moment. All right, before we go into our thread and the needle, I could just go inside and get my yoga towel. That would probably make sense. I'm making out towel. I got it going on over here. All right, so our knees are underneath our hips. Our feet are flat on the floor, and our hands are underneath our elbows and our shoulders. Making sure to pay careful attention to your arms. If you have a tendency to hyperextend your elbow and drop your head, you want to kind of keep the head long and keep the elbow soft so that you've got a straight line there instead of locking into that elbow. So I want the pose to be muscular and not skeletal. So you don't want to hold yourself with just the bones, right? Like this is locking it into my bones. This is using actual muscle work. So we're going to roll our tailbone up. Nothing to see here. My child's going to be in the grass. Don't worry about it, everyone. We're going to roll this tailbone up, dropping the belly button towards the floor, opening up that throat, lifting the chest, and then exhaling back, rounding the tailbone underneath our hips, like you're tucking your tail between your legs, rounding the back opening, and then locking the throat. So once again, the shoulder line there, like we did in forward fold, where you're locking the chin towards the chest. It should be hard to swallow there. Inhale, roll it up. Out. Exhale, roll it back down. Ready? Full body? Like I could really read. Nice. Keep going, guys. Couple more. All right. Once you restore balance, you've gone up and down equal amount of times. Let's go ahead and go wagging that tail, bringing the shoulder towards the hip, and then reverse other shoulder to other hip. Do that a couple times on each side. Remember that your hip, your tailbone is actually swinging from side to side, like a pendulum almost, right? So you want to make sure that you're getting that bottom dynamic of the hips. And then last, but definitely not least, my favorite, we're going to be rolling the upper body opposite direction from the lower body. So it's a barrel roll. It should feel kind of silly. It should feel kind of maybe sensual a little bit. You're just kind of rolling the whole body in multi-direction, all the way around on both sides. Making sure that you're bending your elbows. That lets you know that you're getting really deep enough into that upper body. And then once you've done a few of those, we'll do one more cat-cow, dropping the hips or dropping the belly button down, making the belly big, and then rotating it all the way towards the ceiling. And back to neutral spine. Taking our right leg, we're going to extend it back behind us on the mat. Toes will be touching down. Left hand is going to come out. We're trying to keep the shoulder away from the head. And then lifting the leg if you'd like to. Some lateral spinal balance. So forward and nice and tight here. And then bring it to the other side. Want to engage the lower back a little bit more, you can come back each side, either just the spinal balance or open it up if you want. And leaning back into a all fours position. All right, taking the right arm, when you're ready, taking the right arm and placing it underneath the whole body. Supporting hand can stay, or it can extend, or it can even come all the way up. You can bind it, grabbing around that thigh. But whatever we're doing, we're twisting the upper body and really pressing into that shoulder that's on the floor. Make sure you're breathing. We're in spinal twist. Always important to remind ourselves to breathe on the twist. Rotating that arm back around, pressing out the way we came in, and swapping it over to the other side. Deep breath here. And rotate it back around, and back to all fours. Let's step back into child's pose for just a moment. Regroup, reset, grab what you need. Either the water. I don't know about y'all, but I'm obsessed with Hydro Sticks from Xndurance because they're super clean electrolytes, and because of how much I sweat, like obviously, it is like the best. Well, like as an intra workout, free. Because of the sweaty madness. Even if you don't sweat, if you're just not a big water drinker, like you don't drink enough water, need some. All right, y'all. Taking those hands about 2 corners of the mat. Spread your fingers out as big as you can. Toes go under, push those hips back up. To our downward facing dog. Really sink into that down dog. Pressing the heels towards the floor. All right, coming forward into that plank position. Soft looking drop down. It's a kneeling plank position here if you like. Going halfway down, chaturanga or crocodile. Toes flatten out on the floor and either push up to a baby cobra, or you can push up to an upper facing dog. But an upper facing dog, the knees are actually off the floor. Toes come under, push back to down dog. So we're sliding forward plank, down chaturanga, push up to upper facing dog, and back down to down dog. So if you don't mind breathing on those for a couple of seconds on your own. I'm going to go grab my yoga towel so I can stop sliding. Find you a nice flow. Keep the breath continual. I'll be right back. All right, if you've done 4 or 5 of those, feet back and downward facing dog. So you're good and warm now. If you did about 5 of those, maybe 4. Keep back. Keep back and over there. All right, y'all. From there, from that downward facing dog, take your right leg, lift it high to the sky, rotate that heel. Rotate that ankle. Pressing into the bottom heel. Pressing into the long leg. Maybe in that knee sweep that right leg all the way up to the front. Dropping that back knee. We're going to lift up to our kneeling crescent lunge. And we're going to stay here for just a moment, lifting the chest, lifting the hands up. And then we're going to take it into a twist. So on your twist, you can either just do the forearm, twist around, or maybe you want to take it a little further, bring that elbow down, and rotate the body across the back knee, bringing the hands to the left center. And release back into that. Hands down to the floor, push back to the top. This time, our left leg is going to come up, or whatever leg you did last time. Rotating that ankle, bending the knee. Bringing that foot all the way up towards the hands. Dropping the knee, lifting up. Inhale, crescent lunge. All right, opening up to the side twist if you want to come here. Side twist here. Or you can bring it in all the way to prayer pose, pushing off that back heel or back toe, and opening up that twist. We're trying to get the hands to the center of the chest. That's our target. Breathing. Good job. And then release. Bring it back down. Bring it back to downward facing dog. Walk it out. All right, you guys are going to take that right leg once again. Keep it back to the ceiling. Rotate the leg if you want to a little bit. And then keep that foot towards the hands. Anchoring that back heel to the floor. And then walking yourself up or coming all the way up to a warrior one. Hips are forward. Hands are lifted. Pressing into that front heel. Squeezing the base of the body, the pelvic floor, embracing that glute block. All right, so from warrior one, we're going to step into warrior three. So we're going to challenge our balance a little bit. We've done this one before. We're bending the front knee, pushing off the back leg, and bringing it forward into a balance in warrior three, and then back into warrior one. So inhale. And then exhale. Try to stay steady, keeping the balance in the core and in the leg. If the hands are meant to drop, they help me balance. But for some people, they prefer to keep the hands in just a little bit, make it a little bit easier. And one more time. Reaching. And back into warrior one. Take a deep breath in, open it up to warrior two. Pulling the shoulder blades together, squeezing the back muscles, bringing that front knee, lifting up on the base of the body. So we're activating the pelvic floor, kind of pulling up on the pelvic floor. So Mula Bandha. Turning that front hand up, we're going to reach forward and sink it right back into our reverse warrior. Sinking in that front leg. If you need to straighten it out for a second, you can. Let's go right back into it. All right, back to warrior warrior two. Straighten out that front leg. And then I love transitioning from here into triangle. So we're going to reach forward with the hand, push the hips back, and then hands at that hip bone. So opening it up to reverse warrior. The top of your back of your hand is pressing into your inner thigh or calf. Opening up, that pillow that that you might have nearby or that rope or whatever object you have. Always a great place to use those is wherever you need a few more inches of length on your arm. So it helps me be able to sink into this pose a little deeper. If I'm not having to worry about going all the way to the floor or holding my balance, pressing it into my leg. And then once you've done a couple of breaths here, see if you can go a little bit deeper. Breathing. Squeezing those inner thighs like they're trying to squeeze towards each other. Little dynamic resistance for you there. All right, now we're going to windmill that arm down, bending that knee and pushing back to downward facing dog. Walk it out. All right, y'all. I'll stay where you are. I'm just going to reverse my direction so I'm still facing the stretch. All right, taking that left leg this time. We're going to keep it up and back. Pressing that heel into the floor. Squeezing that foot up towards the hands. Dropping both heels. And then lifting up to warrior one. Pressing into that front leg. Remember, a good rule of thumb is to cover up your big toe with your knee. If you're looking forward and kind of lay it down with your eyes, you should be able to see your big toe. Taking a deep breath in, we're going to press forward into warrior three, pushing off that front leg, pushing off the back leg, catching yourself in some balance, and then back down to that warrior one. Do this a couple of times. Woo. Engaging that balance. Good. And one more time, pressing it all the way up. And bring it back to warrior one. Deep breath in, opening up to warrior two. Pushing that whole side, whole body to the side of the mat. All right, reaching forward for that front arm, coming back. Reverse warrior, sinking back down into that knee, lifting up, opening up the rib cage. Back into that nice big warrior two. Straighten out that front leg, a little sweet release. Drifting that hand forward, pushing the hip back, coming down in that warrior, triangle. Remember pressing the top of that hand into the leg or on that bolster or block, opening up that upper arm, the arm that's on top. Really rotate it so that you look upward and sink into that triangle pose. Take a couple of deep breaths here. You can sink a little deeper, go for it. Squeezing those inner thighs towards each other as if you're trying to pull one heel towards the other. Windmilling that arm around, bend the knee, rotate the back heel upward, and push into the downward facing dog. All right, y'all, we're going to slowly drop the knees, push your hips back, take a breather in child's pose just for a moment. right, y'all. Pick me up. Into that downward facing dog. Eyeball it. Put me into the tummy. All right, so from downward dog, we're going to take that whichever foot is farthest away from your screen. So that you face forward, whichever foot is farthest away from your screen, we're going to bring that foot back and up with the hands so that when you turn your body like this, your straddle split, down. Your booty's not facing the screen. That's all I ask. No big deal. Don't worry, I'm on the recording. You guys will not be. So even if it was your butt, it'd be fine. It would be fine. All right, so standing straddle split. So it's kind of like a forward fold, but standing forward fold. Yeah, sorry. And don't forget to get one of my children from volleyball. No big deal. All right, we're dropping the elbows down. It's that nice deep down, forward fold. I'm just going to tell you so that I'm not upside down while I'm telling you. You're just dropping the chest and shoulders towards the middle of your feet. Really sinking your weight into your heel. Don't forget to drop your head and lock your chin towards your chest. That's going to help you release those neck muscles. All right, slowly pushing up into the hands. We're going to bend the knees. And then we're just going to kind of come up one at a time. So it's standing like a sumo squat. Opening up our hands into sun god. So bringing the shoulders back. Sinking into heels. Chest is tight and your abs are zipped up from the bottom to the top. All right, so we're going to go into our kind of a moon god. And then we're going to open up the hands all the way up to star pose and then bring it back down. So breathing is inhale, exhale. So we're inhaling, exhaling all the way up. Inhale and exhale. All right, and bringing it back down into that pose, holding it down. Right? All right, we're going to release those hands and legs, walking your feet in. I'll break it up a little bit. It looks like I am on the screen, but I can't really tell.
Okay.
All right, we're going to go into some balance poses, like our tree pose first. So using the floor only, try not to use any assistance, no wall or chair or anything. Trusting our body and let our body learn to trust us. We're going to put all of our weight into our right foot, finding a space on your leg. Put your foot that's not your knee. So not on your knee, anywhere above or below your knee, or even across your knee, but just not on that little shelf that your knee creates. So we're pressing the heel into the leg, the standing leg. Standing leg is still bent. Hands can be either at prayer pose or if it helps you with balance. So wherever you want your hands to be is fine. Okay. Good. Bringing our hands into the chest. They're not already there. And extending our tree tall. Bringing the hands all the way up. Holding that tree pose. Freaking up. It might be because my thing is in the sun. It might be getting hot. Maybe. I bet that's what this. Overheating early. If I lose you guys, I'll get in the shade and come right back. All right, so coming out of that tree pose, we'll go into it on the other side. Finding a space on your other leg. Remember, you're not always even. Like it could be You can be really low on this side and keep your root planted into the ground. Just make sure you don't shift your weight into that hip here. You want to keep neutral in the hip. Finding that balance. Hands open if you need them. Slowly opening it up to our extended tree when you're ready. And release. Taking that out. We're gonna go into dancer's pose. I'm gonna just move this. I don't want it to get overheated and lose you guys completely. So we're gonna go into dancer's pose. So all you do first is put all the weight in your right leg. All your weight is in your right leg, and you're grabbing the ankle of your opposite leg. Yeah, my screen's going dark and everything. I hope you guys can still see me. I'm so sorry, y'all. Didn't think about that. Now you can't see my head. Don't worry about it. We're grabbing here. If you are not extending, if you're not extending the leg, you can stay with your hand on the outside of your ankle like this. If you are going to go into dancer's pose, the hand comes inside your ankle. Lock the heel or lock the foot in, so flex your foot, and then we're coming up and back. So you're pressing upward with that heel and reaching with the opposite arm. If you're standing in a quad stretch, pull both hips forward, bring your knees together, and really feel that in your hip flexors. Then we're going to do it on the other side. All right, so once again, if you're only going to be doing the quad stretch, keep your hand on the outside, pull your knees together. You kind of tilt your hips forward so that you're really engaging the hip flexor. If you want to extend it or bring in that hand to the inside of your ankle, flex your foot to lock your hand in place and bring it up with the foot, out with the hand. You're afraid I'm going to fall? I'm afraid I'm going to fall too. Good. Deep breath here. Looking great, ladies. Great job. And then release. Woo! Okay. All right, shake it out. Come on down, have a seat. I can see y'all here. Oh yeah, this will be sort of fine, okay. Great. There we go. All right, guys, so we're gonna have a seat, bringing both feet straight out in front of us. All right, taking a deep breath in. Maybe kind of moving out some of that padding underneath our booty so that your sit bones are a little bit closer to the floor. So kind of feeling those two bones that make up the bottom of our butt, like our pelvis. Those things should be pressing towards the floor. Knees are going to be slightly bent. So we're going to hinge at the waist, coming down into a seated forward fold. So we're just flattening out the front of the body, flattening out the chest and the back towards our feet. Rather than rounding, we're flattening. So taking a deep breath in. Hands can be either under your calves or perhaps under your heels or under your feet. And with every breath, we lift and then sink. Letting that body kind of dictate with the breath as we move down. It's another great place to use a strap if you wanted to put it underneath your feet and kind of hold on. Right there. Just take one more deep breath, thinking a little bit deeper. Slowly coming all the way up. Bringing our left foot inside the thigh. This time we're going to kind of cross over, like over the leg a little bit. So we're still going down into a forward fold position, but we're kind of going to the outside of that leg. So grab the outside of the calf, or you can grab the leg all the way to the foot. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to press the same hand, same leg down towards each other. And then we're reaching up and across the body. All right, slowly coming up. We're going to rotate into a little spiral twist. The left hand is going to come behind us. And we're just going to push up into that bent knee, opening up the chest, and just continue to roll, spiral around until the feet go forward. And bring it right back around to the front. Switching out those legs. Sorry, I'm very serious about whatever kind of bug that was. I was really nervous for a second. It looked like a flea. I was really scared. It'll be a flea. All right, so that leg is inside the other one, and we're coming around and across. Now I'm limited on this side. I've got a locked up hip, so I'm not able to go as far. But just listen to your body. We're not symmetrical, right? So one side might be a little more bendy. One side might be tighter than the other. One side's stronger than the other. So just listen to your body as you breathe into that stretch. One more deep breath in. And as we come out of that stretch, that pose, we're going to rotate that hand all the way around and then just keep on coming. All right, unwinding yourself, coming right back into the middle. Feet are going to come out in front of us with the knees bent. Hands are going to be underneath your shoulders with the fingertips towards your toes. You can also go out to the side with your hands if that's more comfortable, but just try not to go back with the hands. That emphasizes a hyperextension of the elbow. We don't want that. So we're going to press into those hands, lifting up into our tabletop pose. So notice that on the tabletop, your hips are trying to get even with your knees and shoulders. So we're flat from front to back here, pressing into those arms. If you want a little bit more here, you can walk those feet out into an incline plank. And then see what happens when you press away from your hands a little bit. So you can lift the chest a little bit more. Slowly dropping to the hips. Release those hands. Okay. All right, bringing those feet in towards each other to our butterfly pose. Keeping this in mind that this is going to be part of our final relaxation section of the class is a reclining butterfly pose. So this is what we're doing. We've got our feet sole to sole, and our knees are falling open, and then we're going to kind of pull forward a little bit. Or pull forward a lot. I like to do this because there's something inside my chest that pops, like something in there. I don't even know. Maybe it's in my back, but I think it's in my chest. Good. All right. Release it. Shake it out. All right. We're going to do some good back stuff. We've got some good back or poses on our back, I should say. So go ahead and make your way down to a lying down position. Make this a little less So on your back, curl your legs in, your knees into your chest like a little ball, like a little egg pose. If you've got knee issues, you can always take your hands and put them underneath your knees so that you don't press, hyperflex those knees. Well, let's release the hips a little bit. So rotate those hip sockets like egg, we're doing egg beaters. So I've joked about this pose before because I had a girl in class, she did not know what an egg beater was, and she thought that I was saying the wrong thing. She said, "Do you mean like scrambled eggs?" I said, "No, like egg beaters." And she's like, "What is an egg beater? Like a whisk?" I said, "No, like an egg beater, like an old school egg beater that you do with your hands like this." She had no idea what I was talking about. All right, so from here, we're going to do a lying down version of pigeon. Okay, so bringing our knees to our feet to the floor first. We're going to open up in a bridge first before we go into pigeon. So you're pressing your heels to the floor, fingers towards the feet, and then we're just going to lift the hips up off the mat, engaging the glutes. So you're really squeezing your butt cheeks here and squeezing your inner thighs towards each other. If you want to bind it, grab underneath, roll your shoulders towards each other, and bind that rib pose, lifting the hips towards the ceiling or the sky. And then release it down, dropping down into that back. I am getting sweaty. Ooh, Mom, you're getting sweaty. All right, so from here, we're going to go into that lying down pigeon pose. So we're going to bring one leg up and over and cross it like a figure 4. And then we're going to thread the needle, bringing it through. So pulling up into that figure 4. Once you're here, we're going to transfer the hands to the bent leg that's on top. One of my hands across. You either got to go in or stay out. Ivy's coming. In or out. Stay, Ivy. So I've got my palm of my hand is in the sole of my foot, is in the arch of my foot, and I'm holding my leg, and I'm just going to extend that bottom leg all the way out. If your leg doesn't extend all the way out, don't force it, but we're bringing that leg up into the chest. So think about the floor pigeon. When we do pigeon on the floor, that front leg is bent right underneath us, and the back leg is extended. So this is a little less, I'd say it's a little less intense version of the pigeon pose, but it's a lot more doable for the average. And I just selfishly, y'all, my hip is just not having the pigeon pose, so we're just keeping it so stiff. All right, so extending that leg straight up. And then bringing it right back down where we started. So other leg is going to come up on top this time for the figure 4. Threading the needle, bringing the hands to the back of the thigh, really pulling the leg into your chest without rolling your hip up. We don't want our tailbone off the floor. We want to keep it flat on the floor. So we're pressing into the leg more than lifting up the hips. So on a good hip opener there. Then we're going to grab the outside of that front leg, the top leg, put the palm into the arch, and then bringing that leg out extended. Breathing through that stretch, really opening up the hip, pulling the leg out to the side if you need a little more into the hip rotation. And then go ahead and lifting up that leg, straightening it out. Bending that knee, bringing both knees back into the chest. Threading through the legs, favorite pose, ugliest but our greatest. I love it so much. That dead bug pose, we all love it. Keeping your tailbone pressing to the floor, so don't let your booty rise. Keep your butt down, and then opening up those knees to the side, lifting the heels towards the hands, towards the ceiling. Big breath here. If you want to extend it out a little bit, extend it out, opening up that straddle split. All right, bring the knees back into the chest. One last little rock of the body. All right, so I'm going to talk us around the reclining butterfly pose. So ideally, the studio that I sometimes teach at, I left all of my mats and all of my blocks up there, so I've got to go get them. But ideally, you would want 2 yoga blocks, one on each side for your legs to fall open like this. So remember the butterfly pose, the feet are together and the legs are open. So if you have a pillow or something rolled up that you can put underneath your knees, you can always opt to take them out later, but there's just like a natural support there. If you have a third object, if you have a third thing, flies. The flies are coming. If you've got a third thing, we're actually going to be lying on that third thing, having it in the center of our back. These are going to fall open, and the head is going to drop. If it's not comfortable for your head to drop, you can always ball up something underneath it to relax the head. But this is your reclining butterfly. I know it's not the most glamorous pose, but it's great for your back. So if this is not comfortable for you, or if you're just not digging it today, you can just be in a shavasana, which is corpse pose. That's the lying down position. Flat on the back. Hands come out to the side, palms towards the ceiling. And I want you to just concentrate on getting the fullest breath that you can get here. So really deep breaths in and deep, slow breaths out. Thinking about what our body is feeling like right now, noticing at any of those areas of tension that may have stuck around, or they may have worked themselves out a little bit during our practice today. The temptation is to zone out here and think about what you got to do after this, but I want you to just try to be present on your mat. Bring your brain back in. Your thinking starts to wander, bring it right back in. Allow yourself this time to regroup, to reset, to breathe, and I'll bring this back in just a few moments. girls, go ahead and just start coming out of that reclining butterfly or corpse pose that you're in. Maybe you're already in a side lying position. Wherever you are, start to come back. Take your time. There's no rush to get into a seated position, but once you're there, we'll finish up with 1 or 2 more deep breaths. It never fails. I always feel like we have this full, like all this time, and then all of a sudden, like yoga is over and Shavasana was rushed, and I hate it. I'm sorry. I want it to be longer, and then all of a sudden, there's like 4 minutes left. So I just want to do all the poses. All right, taking a deep breath in. Arms are going to come all the way up, bringing those fingertips together, thumbs together, bringing those hands all the way down towards our heart center. Namaste, girls. Appreciate you guys following along with my chaos between the dog and the 4-year-old, and then me forgetting my child at volleyball practice. It's just, never a dull moment. It should give you guys hope and like courage for the future of motherhood if your heart still full. So, anyway, thank you guys so much for being here.